Hello everyone and welcome to a Modern League with Blue-White Hammer. This league I am going to be trying something a little bit different. Normally I like to play with the list that I don't know if I can say that it was popularized by Disgruntled Elk, Travis Brown, but he definitely won a major tournament with it recently in paper, and I think that's good enough for me to say that he popularized it. And I like that style with Giver of Runes and Still Shaper's Gift, Cauldron Complete, and 22 lands, and then sometimes one flexible equipment like this sort of Fire and Ice. But I played a couple leagues with that, and I do like it. But I wanted to try the other style that I've seen online that's different. Is my mouse flashing? That's weird. I don't know if I can fix that. I'll keep it off screen for now. But I want to try a different style with an Ingenious Smith, which I also think is a good card. I haven't liked this as much myself, but that's what we're here for, to experiment. So the cards you see off to the side here, these piles of 8 and 8, these are the 8 cards that I'm cutting from the list that I was playing before, so that we can bring in 4 Ingenious Smith and 4 Mishra's Bauble. And the thing about Mishra's Bauble is that it is an additional 0-mana artifact to trigger Ingenious Smith, and it also helps churn through the deck a little bit more to find more artifacts to keep triggering Ingenious Smith. And the reason I want to try this list is that I think it will be slightly better against the red decks with 1-for-1 removal spells, because Ingenious Smith gets you a second card, whereas Giver of Runes forces them to use the removal earlier, but it doesn't net you a card in the process. And yeah, Ingenious Smith can miss, and I have 23 artifacts in my deck, so I think that I did the calculation once a little bit ago. I think it amounts to over 80% of the time that Ingenious Smith will find something, and that's good enough for me to try it out. And then with the addition of 4 cantrips in the deck, I decided that cutting a land is reasonable. And I think the weakest cards in the main deck are probably Still Shaper's Gift, as it's kind of like a flex slot. It's a really good game 1 card, but I think it is cuttable. And then the Giver of Runes, like I said, for the Ingenious Smith, because they do a similar thing. And then the Cauldron and the one flexible equipment is already flexible, so that's what we're gonna try. I'm gonna get these things out of here for now, and we're gonna get these things out of here for now. Thank you. Okay, and then I changed a couple things in the sideboard. Very small changes. I think I changed 2 things. I cut 2 blacksmith skill because this deck is slightly grindier, and I think the need for blacksmith skill is slightly lower. But the card is insane. I would not fault anyone for keeping a third one in and cutting a different card instead, or even just only putting in 3 Mishra's Baubles, something else. But I wanted to try a couple things, so I cut 2 cards. I think without Cauldron, I'm slightly worse in the mirror match, so I added another removal spell. Prismatic Ending, I think, is more... it's like better on turn 1 as a removal spell, because you don't have to 2-for-1 yourself, unless you're targeting like exactly Urza Saga with March of Otherworldly Light. But they're both reasonable as well. I wouldn't fault anyone for trying a third March, but I'm going to try the Prismatic Ending for variety's sake. And because Cauldron is also good against Amulet, I decided to put in 1 Meddling Mage, so that I could just name Primeval Titan and go from there. I considered a Damping Sphere as well, because Ingenious Smith can find it, but I'm not convinced that that's better than a Meddling Mage against Amulet Titan, so we'll see. I still have the 1 Grafdigger's Cage and the 1 Rest in Peace as cards that are both good against Yawgmoth, because I don't like that match, and Rest in Peace is good, I think, as a 1-of against Shadow decks and blue-red decks, because interfering with their graveyard is a good way to slow them down. It won't cause them to lose the game, but it'll slow them down. So that's where we are. Most of the same list with those changes. We are going to queue up a league, and we're going to look for a match. Okay, we have lost the die roll against a Yorion strategy. This is not a strategy that I run into often online, which is why I don't have any copies of Hushbringer in my sideboard. But Hushbringer would be good against these decks that have a lot of ETB effects. So I'm also going to end up missing my sword, I think, in this matchup. But that's, I guess that's the trade-off for trying new things, and I had to make room for them by cutting some things, so that's where we are. Looking at this hand, it does have Sigarda's Aid and an Inkmoth. It's just missing a hammer. But I think it's... if I give this deck too much free time to set up, they can end up locking me out of the game with too much removal, and I don't like that, so I'm going to try again. This hand's okay. I have the Reality Chip and no blue mana, which is interesting. I'm definitely keeping it. And I definitely like all three of these lands. 2 white sources for Pure Steel, and Urza Saga because Urza Saga. I'm playing Sentinel on turn 1, and the question is, am I putting back the Bauble or the Reality Chip here? And I think the Bauble is the most expendable card in my hand. I'm going to need a blue source to find Chip, but the game's going to go long because if they're Yorion deck, so I'm going to put the Bauble back. And then they're up. Ooh. This is... well, that's a good draw. This is not a strategy that I expected with Yorion. I expected it to be a 4-color grindy pile, but this might just be a Taxes deck. So we're going to do the Sentinel, and we're going to next turn plan on playing Saga with Sigarda's Aid, and see what happens. Castle Ardenvale definitely makes me think mono white. With nothing, so now I have blue mana for the Reality Chip, but I'm gonna do the thing that I said here. This one, and this one. And I don't think I'm gonna attack because, well, if they have a 1-mana creature to Violin, it's probably a 1/1, but if it's Thraben Inspector, I get completely destroyed. And by completely destroyed, I mean marginally destroyed. I'm not gonna risk it. Let's see what happens. Okay, looks like they didn't. But the downside here is I've lost 1 point of damage, and the downside in the other case would have been I've lost my creature that I plan on attaching Hammer to, which is, in my opinion, the more important factor. Like, Hammer can kill in 2 attacks. 11 and 11 makes 22, and 1 point of damage isn't going to matter in that situation. No, not Ghost Quarter. If you play Arbiter, I swear. Okay. Alright, well, now I don't have a hammer. Okay, so I do have this Ornithopter. I think what I want to do is flash in Reality Chip and attach it in instant speed, and then see what's on top of my deck. And if it's a castable. Let's see what happens. Let's target... oh, it's a land? Ew. It's unfortunate. Yes, I'll attach... well... that is unpleasant. I'm still not going to attack because now it's even more likely that they have a creature that can block. And creatures... well, they still don't. So strange. This isn't anything like what I expected. Tech Edge? My word? And add Yorion to hand? Sure. Okay. Urza Saga is a good card on top, so let's play it. Okay. Springleaf Drum is also castable, so I will cast it. Sigarda's Aid is also castable, so I will cast it. Esper Sentinel is also castable, so I will cast it. Hammer is also castable and good, so I will cast it. And then another land. Okay. Let's target the Esper Sentinel and the Thopter just in case. So yes, let's use it on the Thopter, and then let's move it over. Then I can't do that. The only reason that I did the thing where I put it on the Ornithopter first is that if they wanted to Solitude, if I target like the same creature twice, they can just Solitude, and then I only gain 1 life. This way I get to make sure I gain at least a bunch of life. And I will go to Bonk phase and Bonk. They might have a creature on 3 for once. They do. It might be Flicker Wisp where they get the hammer out of the battlefield. What is this? Extraction Specialist? Okay. There's lifelink. Is this some list that's the new hotness that I'm not familiar with? If it is, then good for my opponent. Pass turn. See if I can pressure their mana with my Urza Saga if they're interested in activating Tectonic Edge, since I now have 4 lands. If they play a second Tectonic Edge, they can double Tectonic Edge, because I only have to have 4 lands in order to activate it, not to actually resolve it. That'd be spicy. That's a play from Modern's Past. Oh my gosh, are they actually doing it? I'm excited. No, they're not going to do it. They might realize that they need to interact with my board more than my lands. There's a Flicker Wisp, okay. Probably flickering my Esper Sentinel so that the hammer falls off. I agree. And then my creature comes back. Hooray. Ooh, a Pure Steel on the top. That is a good one. Let's go ahead and cast it. And a land, it's fine. I will use my priority to immediately equip. Then I'll play land. Ingenious Smith, okay. Yeah, I'm in. And then I can clear the land off the top with the Smith. Okay. I found a Paradise Mantle. I will add that to my hand. And then I'll land on top, which I can clear with the fetch land or with the Paradise Mantle. I guess I'll clear it with the fetch land. I'm not sure if it's important one way or the other. It's an Urza Saga. It's not a bad one. Cast Paradise Mantle. That is so many triggers. I forgot. This, and that. Sure. Yes, I want to draw a card. Ooh, a 0 mana creature. Neat. Okay. Sure. Okay. Nah, it's fine. Then I've already got my 1 trigger from Ingenious Smith, but I like casting spells and drawing cards. So here's this thing. Here's this thing. If you have main deck explosives, then I'm sure you get me. Here's this thing. And another one. My word, this reality chip has been absolutely bonkers. Another hammer. Yeah, I'm in for that. Tap one of these creatures. So many triggers. They just conceded. Okay. That was reality chip just putting me on its back and carrying me across the finish line, because that was kind of absurd. Okay, so we're playing against some sort of Taxes strategy. I am going to bring in Blacksmith Skill because it is good in most matches. They're an Ether Vial strategy. So I'm kind of tempted to bring in Pithing Needle because it can name Ether Vial or one of their effect lands. Like a Ghost Quarter or a Tech Edge, if that's something that becomes relevant. But I'm not sure how relevant it actually is. I'm up a game, so that is helpful. I don't know if they're an Urza Saga strategy. If they have... They're definitely a mana denial strategy with Ghost Quarter and Tech Edge. They might have Leonin Arbiter in their deck. I think it's reasonable to trim some number of artifacts, and possibly like the 4th Ingenious Smith if I got too many artifacts. But this is not a deck that I've played against in Modern for a while, so maybe I just bring in like a Prismatic Ending. Can get their turn 1 Ether Vial. And then cut, say... If they're a mana denial strategy, I kind of want all my mana artifacts. So I could trim, like, 1 Bauble, and a Thopter, and a Smith? That doesn't sound like the worst thing ever. Could cut a Memnite instead. Maybe I can cut 1 mana artifact, but I don't really want to cut too many. Maybe 1 Memnite is fine. It's unclear to me whether Memnite or Ornithopter is better in this match, so I'm going to cut 1 of each. Give this a whirl. Memnite can attack, but I still haven't confirmed whether or not they have creatures with things like First Strike or more than 1 power in their deck. This hand is interesting, because I only have 1 mana. Well, I have 2. And Ingenious Smith on turn 2 looking for like a 0 drop or something is interesting. If I get hit with Leonin Arbiter plus Ghost Quarter, then I'm kind of in a bad way. There's no way to attach a hammer, and Ingenious Smith cannot find a way to attach a hammer. But we're in such good shape if we do find one that I think I want to give it a shot. I can see this hand turning into a really good hand, or, oh, okay. I do have the turn 1 file, and Alpha Ghost Quarter too. Bobble, okay. Let's fetch a shock. Play the drum. Play the Memnites. And if I don't play a 1-mana card, then I end up losing this mana. And then I think I'm going to hold the Bobble in case I don't find a land next turn so that I can trigger the Ingenious Smith. But maybe it's more important to use the Bobble just to make sure that I find a land. That might be more important, actually. There are mana denial strategy, as previously noted. We have seen a Cauldron complete, so they have Stone Fortress in their deck. Alright. I did find the land. Okay. Please don't play Alien and Arbiter and Ghost Quarter me. I guess they can't activate Ghost Quarter, so. Castle Ardenvale, okay. Sure, found another land anyway. Still don't want to risk them having something like a Thraben Inspector, because I'd rather keep my creature around. So I don't have any artifact lands, so. Secret Coast. Hopefully we find an artifact. Okay. We did. We found a Bobble. And 3 lands. So we cast the Bobble. Gets me my trigger. Okay. And... If they were a discard spell deck, then I'd be a little bit more reserved when I activate my Bobbles. But as it stands right now, I could find something like a Blacksmith skill off the top if they interact with me, so I'm going to just target them now. And this time they have a Plains. Okay. That's marginally probably a good draw for them, because it looks like they didn't have a Plains-type land already. No, I do not want to attack the Memnite. I think it's a little risky. Okay. Okay, they did not have a 1-drop. Alright, I get to draw a card first. It's not the Blacksmith skill, so... I don't think I want to F6, because I could have Blacksmith skill. I'll represent it. See, I'm about 3 minutes behind my opponent. Okay. We know they have Plains and Cauldron in hand. They're thinking about what they want to do with this turn. They're going to violin a 2-mana card. It is Arbiter, okay. Then they're going to get my White Source, and then they probably have another Ghost Quarter if they're doing this play. They don't. It's just Plains that we know about. Okay. 1 mana, is it a removal spell, like Prismatic Ending? 2 mana, is that a creature? It's unclear to me what they're doing at this time. It is March my... Okay, so they are on the mana denial. Yeah. Sure, I can't do anything about that. An Esper Sentinel is not a bad draw. Using the removal spell on my mana source is a little bit tricky. So, I'm going to play... I think I'm going to play the Sentinel, because it triggers my Ingenious Smith. Alternatively, I can keep open 2 mana, which ensures that my fetch land is good for next turn. I could offer the trade with Ingenious Smith. I know one of their 3 cards is Cauldron, and they didn't Ghost Quarter me again, so I don't think they have a Ghost Quarter. So I think I'll be able to untap with my 2 mana and use my fetch land, I think. If I get punished for that, then so be it. This triggers Smith, my trigger that resolves once per turn. I will attack. And I will F6 because I'm not representing anything with only 1 color as mana. Let's see what they do. If they attack, I will not block. They heard me. not blocking. It's possible they have a Flicker Wisp, so if I double block, I just get blown out by them flickering one of my blockers. Ooh, a Stoneforge. I do have to pay 2 mana to search my deck. So do they, which is interesting. With 3 mana, that's a little bit scary. I think... so what I want to do is attach Shadow Spear to one of my creatures, say the Esper Sentinel, because it has a triggered ability that checks power, and then attack. But I also really want to unlock this fetch land. So I think the fetch land is slightly more important. I might just toss one of the hammers onto the battlefield to grow the Ingenious Smith as well. But it's unclear to me whether that is correct. Let's play the fetch land. Let's click on this to pay the 2 mana. It's a special action that doesn't use the stack. They do have Ghost Quarters in their deck, so I'd rather fetch the non-basic first. And I'm not going to bluff anything here. Now that I think about it, I probably should have just held everything. Because now if they draw the Ghost Quarter, it's active, whereas if I had just held my fetch land, they couldn't Ghost Quarter me, because I could click this guy and do the thing in response. I think that is unlikely to matter, but it might. If it does this turn, then they got me. Just a basic play-ins. Now the Giver of Runes holding up another blocker is a little bit tricky, so I think I do have to attach Shadow Spear next turn if I want to attack. If I draw an untapped mana source, I can pay 2 and search with Stoneforge. Add Yorion, okay. Sure. I did draw an untapped mana, so Stoneforge getting Reality Chip was really good for me in game 1. I might do that again. Or I could simply attach the Shadow Spear. An interesting line would be to get Paradise Mantle. Because it triggers Ingenious Smith, and because it insulates me against their mana destruction. Mana destruction. But I don't think that's quite as powerful as getting Chip. I don't have the 5th mana to actually attach the Chip. There's no reason for me to attack this turn, unless I equip Shadow Spear to Ingenious Smith. I will do the thing. I'll play my Stoneforge. Okay. And I think Chip is better. And no attacks from me. I will not force them to do the thing. Let's see if they have a 3. If they want a Violin. They do not. So we know about Kaldra and Yorion. They are leaving the Vial on 3, so likely they're not playing Restoration Angel, or at least don't have one in their hand. I think this is the creature that I would expect them to have on 4, if they have a creature on 4. Okay, Horizon Canopy. Do they also... Oh, they're just going to cycle it? Okay. I thought they might be casting a Stoneforge Mystic and using their extra 2 mana to search. As for Sentinel, that is an artifact. I will... I have a couple options. I can play the Sentinel, which triggers Smith, and then hold the Stoneforge to flash in the Chip on their turn, and trigger the Smith on their turn. Or I can attach the Shadow Spear to Smith and attack, and still flash in the Chip on their turn. I think they're not likely to play a lot of non-creature spells, based on what I've seen from game 1. So I'm going to go with the line that lets me attack. And if something goes weird, then I don't think it can go that weird, since I still have Chip in my back pocket. Block, sure. Protection from white. Checks out. This means I only get to deal 2 damage. Well, I was going to do damage anyway. This means I don't get to kill their creature. Yes. That makes sense to me. Alright, what else do we have? Nothing? Okay. Opponent seems to have a reactive hand. They're keeping Vial on 3 still. Playing a Gonjo. Interesting. They could have had that in hand last turn because they only had 2 mana in combat. This requires 3 unless they have a legendary creature. Okay. I will go ahead and flash in the chip. Hopefully it doesn't get removed before I can attach it. They're pausing here. I don't know if they want to remove anything at this time. With 1 more mana source, they can also start making 1/1s with Castle Ardenvale. Alright, trigger my Ingenious Smith. Top card's a hammer? I've seen better, but I've seen worse. Could be like my second Secret Ghost. Probably my worst land at the time. Okay, the fact that they're pausing makes me think that they have something. Looks like it's another March. No, it's a path. Okay. Targeting the chip. That makes sense. And I don't have 2 mana to search, so they do have to pay 1 if they want to do that. Yep. Sure. Okay. Sure. Get my counter. So I have 2 cards in hand. I know that one of them is Kaldra and one of them is Yorion. I will play my Esper Sentinel, which triggers Ingenious Smith. I will go to attacks. There might be something to be said for attacking with a Sentinel as well, or like a Memnite as well, with 2 power. I think this deals more damage. I haven't checked yet. Because this will hit for 4, whereas I'll only hit for 2 the other way. Yeah, so this is more damage. I can flash in a hammer on their turn if I just want to get another counter, but I don't think that's what I am interested in right now. Do I want to move over to an Esper Sentinel with the Shadow Sphere? That'll tax them more if they have a spell that they actually want to play. Like if they have a path, but they can still pay for it. I think I'm just going to leave it on my big creature. Trample plus big creature is a good combination. Still looking for a way to attach a hammer. I don't think I'm going to flash in a hammer in my opponent's end step, but I am considering it. See, if I do, this will be a 7 power trampler, and if they have, I assume they have interaction. They played no lands and didn't move this up, and passed the turn. So I suspect that of the 3 cards I don't know about, at least one of them can interact with me. But can I threaten lethal 7? If I just swing out now, and they decide to like eat one of my Esper Sentinels, then they're taking 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess putting this in makes 7, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is. I'm going to activate it because it is exactly lethal. Just want the counter. Okay, well, turns out I didn't have to do that because it's an Orthodox. So this will still put a counter on my creature. So I suspect so this they can absorb up to 4 damage, which means they're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this forces the most action. Might get me the most punished, but the Wandering Emperor. Well, I get to draw 2 cards. I'll take that. A land is not what I'm looking for. And a land is not what I'm looking for. Okay. I gain some life, I think? No, they do. That's right. So that's And then they get to eat both my Esper Sentinels? Rude. Okay. Here's a fetch land. I guess I'll put this onto the flying creature because it's funny. And I'll keep the Inkblot Nexus up just in case I need to block with it. I'll do this. And I'll pass. Okay. Well, I was correct that at least one of the 3 cards I didn't know about interacted with me. Was this the game where they exiled one of my Springleaf drums? Yes, okay. And I'm about 4 minutes down, so we might get to the point where I have to start playing quickly. A cycling land, okay. Are they going to cycle it? Oh, they might just cast Yorion as a creature. Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay. Are they blinking anything? Probably not. It's probably just a creature. Oh, that's right. They can blink Wandering Emperor and then use it again in the end step. That's kind of spicy, actually. Yeah. Sure. No blocks from me. Let's see what they want to do with this Wandering Emperor. What would you like to do? They don't know that I don't have Cauldra, but they might just exile. I was going to say they might exile the Stoneforge Mystic, just in case. I will go ahead and pay the tax so that I can do this. If I can get to 8 mana, then I can attach a hammer naturally, which is kind of funny. Alright, go to my turn. That is a hammer. I was just talking about that. So, this is not good. I think I'm going to play a land and pass. I don't think there's much else I can do. I suppose I will put this onto the Stoneforge? That's unclear to me. I might like to keep a flying creature back. And the Memnite being an artifact could be relevant for Pure Steel Paladin. Well, I have a bunch of artifacts, so it's probably not that relevant. Just going to F6 here. Just seeing if I can navigate this game to a place where I can not be dead. Because my opponent is in a very strong position. Kind of unfortunate that I drew hammers 3 and 4 before one of my 8 ways to attach them. I might just be complaining for the sake of complaining now. Check edge, yeah. I think every draw in my opponent's deck that's not a basic plains is a good draw. Or an Ether Vial. Yeah. This makes sense. I will use it to pay the Troll Toll. As some people call these kind of taxing effects. Okay. I have 4 cards, 1's Cauldra. They must not be planning on hardcasting the Cauldra this game, because they're not keeping lands in play to get up to 7. They don't want to attack because that leaves them dead to a... Interesting. They do have a legendary creature and 2 mana open, so if they have another Iganjo, they can blow me out if I double block. I think it's safe. I think taking 3 damage is safe enough for me to just not double block here. I could be wrong. Okay. And then here I will search. I only have 1 plains left in my deck. 3, 4, 5. There's the blacksmith skill that I wanted a couple turns ago. Guess I have to pass. Looking for a Sigarda's Aid appears to Paladin. Or 3 mana producing lands in a row, ending on an untapped one. Okay, Vigilance and First Strike, sure. Ghost Quarter, okay. I do have 1 Plains left in my deck. Alright, this time I will double block because I have Blacksmith skill. I might still save the Blacksmith skill to make an aggressive push rather than defensively here. Oh, how about the onboard trick that I forgot about? How about that? Protection from white, so I don't even gain life. Oops. That'll show me to remember to read my opponent's cards. Even though I left this card. Thinking about too many things here. Alright, that's the worst draw in my entire deck. Cool. So now I have no basic planes left. 4, 5, 6. Yep. Alright. I could theoretically still win this game if I draw Sigarda's Aid or Paladin. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have to block. That's annoying. I can go to 1 and leave my flyer around. I can't lose both my creatures. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to 1. And then there are only 8 cards in my deck that matter. And I can only beat 1 removal spell. That is not one of them. So I am dead. My deck was in a very poor order for me that game. Just because I'm a degenerate, I want to see. Nope. 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 Okay. None of my 8 ways to attach an equipment were in the top 30 cards in my deck. That was unfortunate. Okay. So Pithing Needle, it turns out, does have targets. My opponent's Stoneforge Mystic. Because they have Cauldron. So that's a thing that I could do. I could just Prismatic Ending the Cauldron token as well. That's a thing I could do. So those are options. Ingenious Smith is not the greatest here, but it plays. It's possible I deployed Reality Chip a little too early in that game, but I didn't have anything else that was going on, so that's what it is. Yeah, this is... I don't think this is a bad setup for the way that I have the deck already. So, maybe Ornithopter is better than Memnite in this match, because they do have a 1/2 that they can Violet on 1. Maybe on the play I don't need the extra mana artifact. I think Ornithopter is better, so I'll switch one of those for Memnite, and then it's possible that I don't need this extra mana artifact on the play, but what would I bring in instead? Maybe just a Bauble, maybe a Pithing Needle. Maybe a March. None of those really seem great. I'm gonna go with a Bauble, because it's not actually a Bauble, it's just gonna draw me another card on a 1-turn delay. Yes, I would like to be on the play this time. I have... Turn 1, I'm going to use my fetch land, just so I get it in under the guy. And then a couple Ingenious Smiths. This is a hand where I think I'm going to keep it, but it doesn't do the hammer thing, it just does a thing. So, this is market research with Ingenious Smith. I might honestly rather be on the draw with this hand, as funny as that sounds. Because I end up losing the ability to get an Ether Vial on turn 1. Just fetch now. That way I can F6 and save some time. Then on my next turn, I might play the Ink Moth? I don't know if it'll matter though. Okay. I will continue to fetch aggressively, so that I don't get locked under the guy. I will Pain, and see what artifact I can find, if any. Hopefully it is at least one. Okay, we have a Bauble and a Sentinel. One Aid's going to the bottom, which is unfortunate. Do I want to save the Bauble for next turn for another Ingenious Smith? That's interesting. I think I do. But because the Bauble's on a one-turn delay, I'm not sure if that's correct. It might be better to have the card a turn ahead. They have a Ghost Quarter, sure. They do have the guy, okay. Good thing I fetched twice. Another Ingenious Smith, fascinating. I think I will incentivize them to hit my Nexus, is that true? I mean, Seacrum Coast is going to come into play and tap basically forever, because they're going to, if they Ghost Quarter me. Maybe I'd rather keep the Nexus around, so here's a land, here's a Smith. Let's see if I can find a 0 or 1 mana artifact again. Nope, we missed. 2 Stone Forge, 2 lands, okay. Here's the Bauble. Let's see what they have going on. They're drawing a Plains, okay. Let's get this out of here. Done. They can give their thing protection from white, which means I cannot attack this turn. Okay, if they would like to Ghost Quarter me, have at it. I will not attack. You have gotten me. What do I draw? Saga, that's a good one. It's less good against Ghost Quarter and Arbiter, but it is a good land in general. Especially if they decide to aggressive Ghost Quarter me this turn. No, okay. Sure. I don't think I'll block this, because I can get up to 3. Okay. Let's do this again. See what we find before playing a land. Okay. We found Reality Chip. That's a neat one. Do I want to just play it this turn so that I get an attack in? I think I do. And then I'll play... Like I said, the Saga's better, so I think I might rather have the Nexus in play to get stripped. Get my counters. Okay. And then I have a Paradise Mantle. So I think I want to attack... but then I just trade for the Skyclave. This still gives me a 2-2, though. And I know I'm drawing an artifact next turn, so I think I'm going to not attack and just stay on defense. Let my things grow. Planned Miracle Grow in 2022. Mono white, Miracle Grow. Only triggers once per turn, more like Miracle Slow. Ha, got myself, I guess. Flicker Wisp. I don't know what they're going to flicker. Maybe the Skyclave Apparition? Okay. They agree. Got a 2-2. This will get my big Ingenious Smith. Okay. And they have 2 cards remaining in hand. Sure. Plains is not a good draw. So I might attach this 0-4 to a creature so that I can clear it off the top of my deck. They are saving this Ghost Quarter, it looks like, so I might have to play the Saga and just let it get stripped. That seems, unfortunately, kind of reasonable. Like, I don't have to do this, but I think it's what I'm gonna do. Attach to my token. Saga's most likely to blow up, so I'll use it for mana. That was not blue mana. There we go. Don't tell me you have a path. Please don't tell me you have a path. Ask nicely. No, they have a path. That's so bad for me. At least I get to clear this off top of my deck. Yeah. Okay. That's really sad. I guess I'll play the Paradise Mantle because it grows the Smith. And that can block a 2-2 now. And then I guess we go. They have another good draw. Although this time I have a way to attach a hammer. I do have a hammer, kind of. Sad that I missed finding a hammer out of 12 looks with 3 Ingenious Smiths. It is a little unfortunate. Yep. Easy decision there. My draws have been less than desirable. Is this just buying Orion? Yeah, it is. Okay. And they attack with a flyer. That makes sense. Nothing I can do about that. My draws have been really horrendous. Oh, I hate it. Here's a land, and I think I'm passing because I don't even have an artifact to play. Ugh. I could swing the 3/3, and then they have to double block it. But I'd rather... I don't know. This is really frustrating. I guess I can attack, and if they double block, I'll trade with the Skyclave and get another 2/2. And if they might just take this, honestly, because they're winning the race. No, okay, they're gonna double block. Sure. Assign blocking order. This way, please. Thank you. Yeah, I'll take a 2/2. Sure. Okay. If they attack... I guess I technically should have attached this. Okay, we're definitely going to block. How am I going to block? They have priority still? Weird. Solitude, sure. Exiling Yorions, they don't have that anymore. Are they also an Ephemerate deck? I haven't seen that yet. Looks like they're an Ephemerate deck based on what's happening right now. Yeah, okay, so... Sure. Sure. I'll pay the 2 to search. And I'll just take the damage. They have 1 card in hand. What do we got? That's horrible. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. Alright, so I have had... my first draw was fine, but my draws in both post-board games have been horribly bad. See if I can get them to use a Skyclave or something on this Secretizade, since I have another one. Oh. A Lion Sash, that doesn't matter to me. And another land. Wow, alright. Alright, my deck didn't play the game in 2 games in a row. That's unfortunate. Guess we have to take that. I think... That's frustrating, because I felt like I was... I felt like I was doing really well around turns 4 and 5 in both postboard games, and I was just waiting for the one thing to unlock my hand. And I think I got exceptionally unlucky in both games 2 and 3, so that's a frustrating loss. Especially in game... Well, I guess in both of them, but in game 2, at the end of the game, I think I had 30 cards exactly left in library, and I hadn't found any of my 8 ways to attach a hammer. And then in game 3, I had seen 3 Ingenious Smith triggers. One of them whiffed, which is whatever, but none of them found a hammer. And I think that's on the bad side of variance. Okay. Putting that behind me, moving into the next game. Looks like we have lost the die roll, so we're on the draw. Opponent's taking a while, which makes me think they have a companion, because you have to click through that. They could just be, like, getting a coffee or something. Looks like there's no companion. I have no mana sources in my hand, so I will be mulliganing this. I do have... Oh, this is a good hand. Let's keep it. I would like both lands, the Sigarda's Aid, the Stoneforge. Esper Sentinel I might play on turn 1, and I think I'd rather have the Bauble than the Memnite in this situation. Unless they have a turn 1 Ragavan. If they have a turn 1 Ragavan, then I'd rather have 2 creatures on turn 1. That's scary enough on the play for them that I'm going to keep 2 creatures. Don't be a discard spell deck. Okay. Well, this is worse. I expect this to be Yawgmoth, and that's very bad for me. So, turns out I would have rather had the Bauble. Silly me. I would still make the same mulligan decision again. But it just happens that I would rather have the Bauble right now. This match is quite bad. I expect to lose this game. Hopefully win game 2, and then fight it out in game 3. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ow. I said ow. Thanks, Moto. Okay. Am I dead next turn? I might be. This is... Wow, 2 games in a row where I really am missing the Cauldron. That's kind of brutal, actually. I should have fetched Shockland there in case I draw Urza Saga, because I want to play that next turn. Wasn't thinking real quick. Well, Hammer and Shadow Spear are both extremely important. Hammer is the more important one, so we'll take that first. Okay, so I have definitely noticed the Cauldron being out of my deck. Sure. Ow. Again. And then the draw is... they're in my upkeep, so do they have a... Oh, okay. Well, that's not a bad card, because it can threaten a kill in the air. The birds can block, but it's the only thing that can block. So am I playing that this turn, or am I playing Chip this turn? That's the question. If they Chord, they have Chord only for 2. Okay, so they're gonna wait for Chord to untap. If they have that card. I think I need to be able to attach a hammer, which is unfortunate, but it does mean that I'm playing the Inkmoth Nexus now. Because I need there to be a creature that can survive a bunch of Yawgmoth activations. But if they have Grist instead, then I get punished. This is a tough matchup in game 1. We shall see what happens. I'm holding on the hammer and not attacking because it could be Grist. Well, it's not Grist, that's Geist. It's different. Interesting. So their chord value right now is still only 2. So I will cast Hammer and block, because I don't want to get beat down to death by just these dinguses. I could also block with Stoneforge Mystic here, which I might do. It saves me a couple life points, puts another counter on one of these things, which could be relevant if I can get a counter on the Young Wolf as well. Yeah, everything's dying, and these are undying. I need to draw Shadow Spear, or a way to find it. That is, unfortunately, not what I said. So, shock this in case I have exactly Pierce still on top. Keep it open white. I will. It's a Sagardizate. Okay, I'll attach this to the one that they don't need to kill if they end up killing something. So I can cast this. Are you a Shadow Spear? You're not a Shadow Spear. You're a land. Son of a gun. Pass my turn. Yeah, this not fetching a Hallowed Fountain on turn 2 is coming back to bite me a little bit, because I needed to play a blue source on this turn, and otherwise I would have been able to play this land off the top and see what was next. Just alpha striking me? It is. Sure, so here, and I'm taking 3, 4, 5. That leaves me dead in one shot of 5, but next turn I can block the 3, and I'm only taking 2. So I don't have to block this turn, sure. Ow. Shadow Spear, where are you? Shadow Spear. You're not a Shadow Spear. Let's fetch. See if I can find a Shadow Spear. Maybe I should have played this, but it's unclear. You're maybe a Shadow Spear. Maybe. If I need another blocker, I think I'll keep this open here. Ooh, that's a piece of candy. I can cast this with Flash. I don't think it matters. I'm going to put like this. Okay, Shadow Spear. Yes. Okay, sure, why not? Shadow Spear. You're not a Shadow Spear. You are a Shadow Spear. Yes, that's what I wanted. And here we go. This. Okay. Yes. Yes, please. And then cast this. I need to put it on the Esper Sentinel, so I'll just put them both on the Esper Sentinel. Yes. Yes. And then attack. Big number. And then here's an Ornithopter. I lose a +1 counter, but I'm not too worried about it. And then let's see what happens. I might have actually stolen game 1. If they've drawn a way to get to Yawgmoth, they can draw a bunch of cards. There's a land. It's probably coming into play untapped. Oh, maybe not. I could be wrong. I often am. Okay. Seachrome off the top is a tapped land. And fetching clears the land either way, but it's untapped, so I think I'm going to do that. Oh, okay. They've decided that they cannot win. Okay, I've stolen game 1. I will accept. So, cards that are important. Blacksmith Skill is important for when I make a push for lethal. Rest in Peace slows them down a lot. Relic is pretty bad, I think, because usually I have to sacrifice the Relic or exile the Relic to stifle an Undying trigger, and that's not really a good use of that card, because I'm trading like a creature in combat for their Undying ability, and then losing my ability to manipulate the graveyard after that, to manipulate the graveyard. I am going to bring in Grafdigger's Cage because it turns off other searching effects, and Pithing Needle because it turns off Yawgmoth itself. I am going to bring in Lavinia because they can't Chord under Lavinia. Like, Chord for Yawgmoth has a mana value of 7, And they usually don't have 7 lands. They're usually using creatures for that. And then... What am I cutting? There's a lot of cards I'm bringing in. Let's see. The Memnites are kind of awful terrible. But so are the Esper Sentinels. Well, we've successfully gotten down to 60 really fast. And then... And then what? I like having extra mana artifacts on the draw, so I can try and keep up with them in mana, because they have a bunch of mana artifacts. Or mana creatures, rather. Spell Pierce is interesting. I can't get Grist, because Grist is a creature on the stack, but I can get the 8 Searchers, but I already have Lavinia for 4 of them, and Lavinia also makes it so they have to hardcast Force of Vigor, which could come up. I could bring in Prismatic Ending on the draw, so that I can ending whatever their turn 1 play is. I have cut a lot of artifacts, and I only brought in about 2, so I'm going to cut 1 Smith. And then I'm going to keep in a large number of baubles, because I need to find the cards that matter. This isn't a game about me just running out of cards, it's a game about me finding the right cards. And March of the Otherworldly Light, not very good against mana creatures on turn 1, so I don't think I'm going to bring it, because yes, I can exile one of them, but I have to 2-for-1 myself to do it on turn 1. This hand is very interesting. So I have the 1 ending in my opening hand, which is why I want it, to get their creature on turn 1. But then my turn 2 is Saga and nothing, unless the bauble finds me something to do. And then my turn 3 is make a token, and my turn 4 is search for probably Pithing Needle on Yawgmoth. This hand's really close. But I don't think it's good enough. They can probably put a Yawgmoth into play before turn 4, or by turn 4, just with actually 4 lands. I'm not sure. I don't think it's enough. I'll try again. This hand's close. If I had Cauldron in my deck, I'd be much more inclined to keep it. This hand has a way to find a hammer and a way to attach a hammer, and it also has the Shadow Spear, so this is definitely a keep. I need the mana creature, so that means I have to put a Stoneforge back. That means I have to put Shadow Spear back. Maybe this hand isn't as good as I thought. But I think this is where I have to be in order to have the best chance of being in this game. Probably a mana creature on turn 1. They do play 8 of those, plus 4 young wolves, so it could be a wolf. It's a wolf. Okay, that's better for me, because they're a little slower now. So I think I want to shuffle the Shadow Spear back in, so I have a chance of drawing it. And there are some blue cards in my deck, so here's this, pass turn. And Overgrown Tomb. If it's untapped, then I was gonna say if it's untapped, they probably have a Wall of Roots. I suppose I'll block this. Take that, you. Haha, I got him. Saga's a good draw, because that gets me the Shadow Spear. I will take Hammer. Chip is interesting, but I'll take Hammer. Do I want to play the Hammer this turn? I don't think so, because if they have a Shatter effect, then, or a Naturalize effect, I guess, because they're green, then they could blow it up before I can attach with Pure Steel. I'd rather try and get the cantrip off of the Pure Steel in this matchup. Paying costs. Okay. I think they were accidentally activating Besieger from hand. Oh, jeez. I didn't expect this card. Well, I get a zombie, because there was one in my hand. So that's something. Hooray, a zombie. Now I can win the game with my zombie. Uh-huh. I don't really... I'm not going to fetch because I could draw Reality Chip. I don't think I'm going to play Pure Steel because I can activate Saga. If I didn't have a Saga activation this turn, then I would not do that. I will... I'll attack. They'll probably block. Oh, they didn't want to. Okay. That's reasonable. And then I'll keep up Activate Saga. It's going to be a lot harder to win this game without Colossus Hammer in my deck, because I don't have the Cauldron. This is 3 matches in a row where I wish I had Cauldron. Oh god, it's another one? No, okay. What can they get for 3 or less? They can get Grist. I don't think they can get anything that'll... unless they brought in Magus. So if they brought in Magus, then I'll get destroyed if I don't activate the Saga now. So here's a Saga now. And then if you want to Magus me, then at least I made a construct. Sometimes the list plays 1 Magus of the Moon. Otherwise it's probably Grist, in which case they can now hit the construct. But I think that's fine, because then I get to kill the Grist. And make another construct token. Oh, Endurance. Okay. Targeting me? Oh, put some bad cards back in my deck. How rude, putting those bad cards back in my deck. Oh, that's the best draw. Nice. The problem is... it's the best draw on any other turn when I wasn't going to search it with my Urza Saga. So, that's really awkward. I think I need to win the game with construct tokens. So that's what we're going to try to do. Since they stripped my hammers, this is now my path to victory. And let's see. Pithing Needle or Grafdigger's Cage are the 2 choices. Pithing Needle is better against Yawgmoth. Grafdigger's Cage is better against their, like, shenanigans that they do. Alternatively, I could pick a Springleaf Drum, and I could play the Paladin and the Shadow Spear. I think Pithing Needle on Yawgmoth is the play. But it's hard to say, because they haven't played a 4th land yet. So they could just have the Yawgmoth in hand, in which case I'd rather have the Pithing Needle. So let's do that. Yawgmoth Thrawn Physician. Yawgmoth Kama Thrawn Physician. Okay. Here's a land. I'm probably just going to play the Pure Steel this turn. If I play the Shadow Spear instead, then the Construct token can do stuff. I'm just going to attack with a Construct token. And if they double block, then I can flash in the Shadow Spear. Surprise them. Otherwise, they're taking 5 damage. Yeah, I'm taking 5 damage. If that's the case, I will play the Pure Steel Paladin, tapping my creature with 0 power, and passing my turn. If they are fluent in... Oh, that's a sad land for them to draw. If they're fluent in the ways of Hammer, they will probably read that I drew exactly Shadow Spear because I didn't tutor it with Saga. Ooh, a nice piece of candy. Cast this guy. Now I get 2 draws. Draw 1. Nice, that's probably the best draw on the deck. Draw 2. Equip 0 to a construct. So this construct is 7 and the other one is 6. So for the 6 power construct, they would have to block with all 3. So I think I'm going to attack with both of them. Hi-ya. And let's see how they react to this. I am happy about the Blacksmith skill because I can use it to protect the Pithing Needle if they try and blow it up and play Yawgmoth. I can... Oh, dear lord. I will now have to use it on this creature. Still tapping the thing with 0 power. Well, for something like this. This is one of the reasons I'm happy about drawing that Blacksmith skill. Okay, and They have conceded. So it looks like their hand was unable to produce... Would they end up exiling? An Eldritch Evolution? Okay, it looks like their hand was unable to produce the Yawgmoth. So they were unable to survive to a large lifelinking trampling construct. Okay, that is a match that I think is tough. I generally do not like that match. But when my opponent never puts Yawgmoth on the battlefield, it's a lot easier. Got some water. Got a little sip of coffee. Looking for opponent in round 3. Ideally, we're aiming at the 4-1. And so far, somehow I said that there were 3 matches in a row where I was missing the Cauldron, which is impressive because I only played 2 matches. So as of right now, there are 2 matches in a row where I was missing the Cauldron. And then we'll see if I will miss the Cauldron in the 3rd match. We'll see if I was accidentally seeing into the future a little bit, or if I was just saying the wrong number. You know what they say. There are 3 kinds of people in the world. There are people who can count, and there are people who cannot count. It is possible that the long queue time is because of that modern challenge from earlier. It might still even be going on, and if that's the case, then definitely a lot of the modern players are that take it up. But even if it's not, playing a modern challenge and then queuing up in a modern league is a grind. For the 3rd game in a row, or for the 3rd match in a row, I am on the draw. My opponent keeps 7. I'm going to keep this hand. It has a Bauble and a fetch land, so I can scry 1, sort of. And it has Saga on 2 with either Stoneforge or Ingenious Smith, depending on what the case may be. Another Ghost Quarter deck? The Soul Guide Lantern. Okay. I'm kind of confused. Oh, well, that's a thing to do on turn 1. So I will Bauble myself. The fact that they have Soul Guide in the main makes me think... Okay. I don't think I want that. Makes me think that they are an Urza Saga deck. So here's this thing. And here's your turn. I don't remember playing against very many Ghost Quarter strategies in my last couple leagues. So finding 2 in a row was kind of strange to me. Okay. I'm concerned. Somebody help. Just play turn 1 over again, sure. Get that Bauble out of my graveyard? Yeah. That'll show me. I'm really interested in what my opponent is doing over there. I have no idea what's going on. If I play Saga and Stoneforge and get Hammer, that's 2 artifacts. Because I can play the Hammer at any time. But I still need the 3rd one. I can activate Saga to make a construct. And get a 3rd one that way. Sure. The Smith puts more pressure on them. I'm gonna... Oh, you know what? I should have played this fetch land, honestly. I'm gonna play the one that searches my deck. Because I'm afraid that they're gonna Arbiter me. And... I will get a Hammer because it's the name of the deck. And I'm not going to play it because there's a chance I draw Sigarda's Aid. If they dismember me here... No, they're just drawing a card. Okay. I was going to say, if you dismember me, then you got me. Still really interested in what's going on. Is this like Lantern control? Is this like some sort of Tron deck, but that plays like weird artifact synergies. Field of Ruin. Okay, so we're on mono land hate. And I am highly suspicious that that Arbiter is in my opponent's deck, but like, I don't know what's going on. Somebody help. 2 mana. Sure. Sure, you've gotten my Saga, yeah. Mountain. Is this... There used to be a deck floating around called Free Win Red. That's actually a pretty good draw. Where you would play, like, Blood Moon and Land Hate, and just opponents who weren't ready for it, you would get a free win. So that could be what this is. If it is, then I'm... Just in case, I'm going to fetch a basic here. Even though they have Ghost Quarters? Strange. My opponent's deck has definitely got me puzzled. I'm going to play Ingenious Smith because it's the safer one. See what we find. We find a Hammer, a Memnite, a Saga, and a Basic Plains. I suppose... I'm going to play the Paradise Mantle, I think. They might be a Fury strategy, in which case... get wrecked me, I guess. But... I'm going to pick this one. And I think... I'm so confused. I think I'm going to fetch the Basic Plains that I just put on the bottom. Or at least I would fetch that one if it were in real life, because I know where it is. But there are 2 in my deck. I don't know which one this is. And then I will look for another artifact. Okay. And I will find a bauble. I kind of want to play both of these this turn. Memnite because it has power. And bauble because it draws me a card for next turn. And I do want to find more ways to do things with this hand. So I'm going to lose a counter on these, but I have more artifacts. What are you doing? Shatterskull Smashing. That is a red mana source. So I know that my opponent has more red mana sources in their deck. Good for me. And good for them. Okay, now if they Fury me, they can get 2 Ingenious Smiths, but I still get to leave 2 creatures behind. And I get to draw a card. Cycling, so they have Shatterskull in hand, sure. Yeah. I have a... Oh boy, I'm Memnite. Boy, howdy. Another mountain. Okay, so I know they have Shatterskull in hand. And 5 unknowns. Please explain to me what your deck does, because I'm still in the dark. I'm not familiar with the strategy. Oh boy, more land hate. Really shouldn't have fetched that basic. Okay, the problem is I've drawn the 4th one, so... This is another Cleansing Wildfire? Reckless Impulse. Okay. So they can play these 2 cards for a turn. Saga's a good one. So they're tapped out. They haven't shown me any free spells. So I think these both get counters. 6, 7, 18. That's not 19. That's sad. Okay, I'll see if I can find one more power somewhere. Cast this to draw a card. I'll put the Paladin first, because the Ingenious Smiths should stack automatically after that. Yes, they do. Yes, I'll draw a card. That checks out. That's at least 1 power. Okay, yes, I'll draw the card. Equip to the Knight. My opponent has conceded, okay. So there's some sort of I hate lands strategy. Good to know. I didn't actually see Blood Moon. Definitely bring in Blacksmith Skill. Is this a match where I would want the Cauldron? It's unclear. I think I'm going to take the Spell Pierces, I think. and call it here. They have shown me that they're a very reactive deck in Game 1, so I'm going to cut 3 Ornithopters. But again, this is new territory for me. I am not familiar with these all these strategies that really hate on mana, unless that's the new hotness for how to interact with the Omnath decks, because that's an angle to exploit them from. They do play 1 Magus of the Moon, and they can tutor it, but the trick with them playing 1 Magus of the Moon in their 4-color deck is they're not going to play it if it locks them out of the game. So they can wait for an opportune moment to do so. Whereas if you hate their lands when they're not ready for it, then that can shut the door really fast. Taxing their effects seems reasonable even on the draw, so I'm going to keep those. I'm going to keep all my mana-producing artifacts, because they're hating on my lands. And I think I'm going to trim 1 Smith because I cut some artifacts. I think this is reasonable, so let's send it. And I haven't seen any permanents that I need to worry about. I haven't seen any free spells for Lavinia. Okay, I have... Let's see, they mulled to 6 straight away, so their hand they did not like, for sure. My hand has mana. It has a lot of it. So... Like, this is a perfectly fair hand. Is that a reason to keep it? Just get my mana under me for the mana denial deck? I'm up a game. I'll try it out. Okay, let's see what they got. They have a Den of the Bugbear. And then it's my turn. So I'm going to fetch a Shockland, because I've seen a lot of ways for them to destroy my lands but give me a basic in exchange. I'm either playing the Drum or I'm playing the Sentinel here. I think the Sentinel's better, so I'll give that a go. And then next turn I can play the Smith, or I can play Drum into Smith. Probably better. Unless they play a second land at a 1-mana removal spell, paying for the tax, and then... Is this what's happening? 1-mana removal spell, pay for the tax? I don't think so. Because my opponent used both mana right away. So is this like a Cleansing Wildfire? Is this a Reckless Impulse? My opponent's deck is very fascinating. It's a Fury. Okay. Exiling Lightning Bolt. I will take the 2-for-1. And a Chalice on 1. Okay. My opponent's a Chalice deck. Okay, so I've now seen permanents that concern me. So here's a card that costs 2 mana. On the play, I'm definitely putting another Smith back into the deck. Oh no, I missed. That's bad. Okay. Alright. They have Chalice, and they have 1-mana cards in their deck because they have Lightning Bolt. Interesting. I wonder if Chalice is in the sideboard more for Cascade strategies than it is for me. But they definitely showed me a lot of cards that can play under Chalice in the previous game. They do have Blood Moon. Okay. So this is an extremely hateful deck. I think this is free win red, honestly. Is what I'm gonna refer to it as. And so far in this game, they're definitely doing the win for free. I can't place any of the spells in my hand, and I have 1 white source. So, yeah. I just want to see more of their deck. Stomp. They only have 1 card left in hand. It's a land. Okay. Well, that's something. It'll definitely be better for me to be on the play. That's for sure. Yep. I'm probably just going to get beat to death in increments of 4. Can't play that. What can I even do? I can draw exactly Stoneforge Mystic, but they didn't play their card, so it's probably a spell. And if it's a spell, it probably kills my creature. Ratchet Bomb. Okay. Okay. Against Chalice decks, I do actually like Kaldra, because it forces... It's something that I can do with Chalice in play. So, yeah, 3 for 3, where I do feel the Kaldra's absence. This is a Chandra Torch. No, Chalice on 2. Okay, that's enough for me. I'm also missing the sword in this match, the Sword of Fire and Ice, because Pro Red is pretty good. Alright, so free win red. Definitely want the Spell Pierces. I definitely want the Smith back in, because I can play it under Chalice. I think I want the Chip, I think. Prismatic Ending and March can both interact with Chalice and Blood Moon. Both of those permanents present problems for me. So I think I'm going to keep... I think I'm going to have some of these in. So, strangely enough, I think I'm going to cut an Urza Saga here. Because it just doesn't function under Blood Moon. The trick with Urza Saga is... Not the trick, but like... One thing about Urza Saga is that it's very good if they don't have Blood Moon, because it plays under Chalice, but it's so bad under Blood Moon. That I don't know if I want to risk it. I'm definitely not cutting more than one. Card's very good when it's good. Under Fury... Ornithopter is better against Fury, because it's got that extra point of toughness, but Memnite can attack on its own. It's kind of tough. Yeah, this is a very difficult match to sideboard for. I might even be over sideboarding. On the play, I think I'm going to cut one of my mana artifacts, and now I have 2 cards too many. Ingenious Smith isn't as good, but it plays under Chalice on 1. It might still be the worst card in the deck. Maybe Memnite is the worst card in the deck. Maybe Bauble. But Bauble, like, cantrips looking for the cards that actually matter. Memnites and... maybe 3 interactive spells is too many, because I just want to do my thing and be left alone. Maybe 2 interactive spells is even too many. I'm not sure. Because I've already got the Spell Pierces, and I can just play my cards. Yeah, let's bring in like this. I'm bringing in the second drum because they have enough ways to hate on my lands that I'd rather have the mana artifacts, even on the play. Turn 1 Sentinel is good. I will keep. Turn 1 Sentinel is good most times. I do have to fetch for it. We're fetching a basic. Am I saving the Bauble or am I using the Bauble? I think I'm going to save the Bauble so that I can use my fetch land as a scry. I remember there a version of this deck, this Blood Moon Chalice kind of deck that played Simian Spirit Guide and Rituals to try and turn 1 a Blood Moon, and that's when it was really called Free Win Red. Luckily, Simian Spirit Guide is banned because that card does not do anything fair. If that card is good, it's not because it's in a fair strategy. Okay, do they want to cast a spell and give me a card? I think the answer is no, but I can't see their hand, so I would appreciate a free card. Alright, I will take the 2 for 1. And then they probably have a Chalice next turn, if I had to guess. I'm going to... Well, I was going to use the Bauble for a scry, but I guess I still can. I just would rather play the Saga and get one construct out of it before a Blood Moon comes down. Gonna get a hammer, I think. Gonna play this thing, and I think I'm still gonna save this for a scry. If they have a second Fury, then sure, then they got me. A field. Looks like it's a Chalice. Oh, it's a Ratchet Bomb. Okay. It's a good card. I think they have to keep it on 0. That is also a good card. Oh my word. Do I just go for that? I think I do. Like, get a basic here. Play Pure Steel, play Hammer, attach to Stoneforge, bonk for 11. I think that's better than making a construct. I do have to play the Bauble first, because I need a third artifact. Then I draw a card. Drawing cards is good. Ingenious Smith also plays. I have to attach it to this one so that the Ratchet Bomb doesn't blow up my Memnite. I will attack you. And I'm going to hold the Mishra's Bauble in play for as long as I can, because I still want to get a scry out of it. They're charging it up, that makes sense. Hopefully they don't have Mountain, Blood Moon, and then blow up my hammer. That would be possibly the worst case scenario, but it's still not even that bad. I guess they can Field of Ruin my Saga. If they're going to do that, I think they should do it on their turn. Or I guess, I don't know what their hand is. If they're going to do that, I'm more afraid of them doing it on their turn. It's in the end step. Okay, they are doing it on their turn, sure. I will, let's see, this is a force search, so I'm not going to look at my top card in exchange. I will look at theirs. I want to know what they're drawing. It's a Chandra Torch, okay. I will now search because I need to. Okay. Okay. I will draw a card. Oh my gosh, Blacksmith skill is the nuts here. Here's a land. And is that just lethal? I think it is. Swing. Man, I'm gonna target the hammer if they activate the bomb. Yeah, no blocks. Makes sense, they have no creatures. They're gonna activate this. I'm gonna protect that. And hopefully they don't have a way to interact with this. They do not? Okay. Alright. Up to 2-1 against a deck that took me on a wild roller coaster of thoughts and emotions right there. Ugh. Standing up and stretching, but you can't see me doing that. Ugh. Not until I get a webcam, anyway. So that match was interesting as to whether or not I really wanted the Cauldra. The Ingenious Smiths definitely play there. The Cauldra also plays there. So I think that one's a wash. So far we're 2-0-1 on missing the Cauldra. As we wait for round 4. It's very amusing to me that I ran into multiple Ghost Quarter decks today. Alright, round 4, let's go. Waiting on the opponent to accept. Not yet? Not yet? Yes, okay. Oh, Thought they accepted when it paused. Huh. 3, 2, 1. Back into the queue. Back into the queue. Okay. I'd have to check the replay, but I thought for sure it paused at 14, but then, like, it dropped down to 11 instead of starting the match. So I'm not sure what happened there. I usually just watch for the countdown to pause as the game loads in. Okay, we have found another match. This time it looks like we're going right in. Ah, yes, we are 0 for 4 on die rolls today. And that's another Yori on deck. Okay. So I would expect this to be a 4-color pile. I don't like my starting hand that much. I have a hammer and a way to attach it, but I don't have a lot of pressure in the meantime. I'm gonna keep it, but I think it's on the weaker side of keepable. This probably is an enchant land. It is. Sure, okay, this match is very difficult. That's a good draw. So I already have something to do on turn 2. I think I'm going to play the Memnite. I'm going to save the Bauble for the Ingenious Smith. And I do want blue mana eventually, so I will play this now, and I'll pass. I'm not going to use the Scry trick on the Bauble. I just want to get blue mana in case I draw, like, Urza Saga or something. This probably is Renin 6 to kill my thing. It's usually what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. I feel extremely behind. Alright, I am glad that I saved the Bauble though, so that my Ingenious Smith doesn't have to die to this Renin 6. We drew another Pure Steel, sure. Igmoth can at least pressure Renin 6 if I really have to. Alright, let's see what we find. We found Reality Chip. That's not a bad one. Here's a Bauble. Okay. And then let's see what we have over here. Eladamri's Call. Okay. Yeah, my hand's not bad, but... Withering Cloth, okay. But this match is extremely uphill. They got Flooded Strand? Yeah, okay. Renin 6 on 2 is their best start. Bolt my thing, okay, that's really bad for me. And they still have Eladamri's Call open. Pressure. I can attack Ren for 1, but it doesn't do anything. I think I want to play the Saga and the Chip, kinda. Kinda want to play the Pure Steel because I can attack. But then I don't get to play the Saga. I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna cast Chip. I've got a Smith on top, that's not a bad one. And then they'll e-call for... what are they likely to e-call for? They have a Lightning Bolt in their deck, so I don't think they're the Risen Reef version. Oh, Quaddle, okay. Codal. They might be their Risen Reef version. No, I still don't think they're the Risen Reef version. Especially not with Codal there. Yep, pick up their land, sure. Yep. 3, it's to Fairy, sure is. Bounce my... yeah. Alright. This is a board state where if my hand didn't contain live spells, I might just literally concede. This match is so frustrating. So... I can play the Smith and definitely hit a Bauble. I don't hate that. So let's replay the Saga. They still have Eladamri's Call, as well as 5 other cards in their hand. Blah. Okay. Looks like, wow, everything's a hit. I think the Bobble's the best one here, but it's unclear to me, because it's definitely not Sentinel, because Ren and 6 just kills it. So the Paradise Mantle I could play next turn with the Pure Steel to get a cantrip off of it, but this build of the deck normally has Counterspell in it, so I don't know if that'll even resolve the Pure Steel. And if it doesn't, then that's very bad for me. So I think I'm just going to get a Bobble. Play it so that I can get through this land on top. Oh yeah, I forgot. Whatever I pick, I have to play this turn so that Ren can't pick off my Ingenious Smith. I didn't have to activate it, though. So, this Ice Fang Codal, they probably will not keep on top, because they can fetch. Yeah. So I don't actually know what card it is. Okay. One white. They did not plus their Teferi last turn, so... Oh, they have March in their deck, okay. Interesting. So not only is this matchup bad, my opponent is playing a couple cards that I think are even better against me than normal. Okay. Is that an, oh, this is an Omnath? Sure, that's their best card. God, this match is frustrating. I'm definitely not dead, but I'm in a horrendous position. I see the Stoneforge on top, which is it's a card that plays. Fury, sure. Do they have mana open to flicker their thing? They don't, they just cast it. Okay. Sure. I'll move this out of the way. It's Fairy Zone 2. Okay. So I can play the Seacrem because it comes in untapped, which is funny. I can play this Stoneforge. And I think I'm going to get a hammer and play the hammer so that my Ingenious Smith gets bigger. Now if they flicker the Fury, then they can't do anything about it. Or let's see. I mean, I'm dead. Like, if I were playing against someone in my like local game shop and I knew that they were a good player, I would just concede here. Like, I have lost this game, but I will play it out for the sake of video content. Sure. 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 There's that Eladamri's Call. They left open blue-red. I mean, they had to. This card costs 2 color mana. Never mind. That was not an insightful comment. Yep, E-Witness. A new Teferi. Okay. Yeah, them setting me back on 2 mana was pretty rough. Bounce the hammer, sure. Oops, snap back over there. Looks like they do not feel like attacking. Smart. An Ornithopter. I will run face first into a counterspell. Oh my gosh. I'm surprised. Ah. Play an Ornithopter because it triggers the Smith. I'm just debating whether I want to play the Plains or the Inkmoth Nexus here. If I play the Plains, I can flash in Colossus Hammer on their turn and Ingenious Smith gets bigger, which is kind of neat. I kind of like that. So I'm going to do that. Means that they have to interact with my Ingenious Smith if they want to swing in with Omnath. If they swing with Fury, I might just block with Stoneforge. Yep, best card in Modern. Well, Red Insects might be the best card in Modern, but this deck gets to play both of them. Abundant Growth, sure. Sure. Yep. Sure. Yep. Okay. Second green, so that's an Eternal Witness, probably for counterspell. Yep, that's what it is. Okay, I'll concede now. Yeah, that matchup is basically impossible when they start with Ren and 6 on turn 2. Teferi's okay, Lavinia's okay at stopping their elementals. Blacksmith skill is mandatory in basically every matchup. The problem with Memnite and Ornithopter is that they both suck. Ornithopter sucks harder. And I might bring in Pithing Needle. Gonna cut 1 mana artifact on the play. Teferi's in against decks that play counterspells, like actual counterspell, so that's why he's here. And I could cut a Memnite, or I could cut a Bauble. I think I want as much stuff that threatens my opponent, like as many attackers as possible. So I'm not gonna cut an Ingenious Smith, even though I did trim 4 artifacts. Maybe that's wrong, because I am bringing in more, like, 2 mana cards, and I don't want to jam my hand up with 2 mana cards, so I can actually see myself cutting 1 Ingenious Smith. Let's try that. And see how we do. Okay, I do want to play first. Hopefully my hand is keepable. I don't miss the Kaldra in this matchup, but I do miss the sword, because blue-red sword, it doesn't protect from white removal spells, but it protects from Teferi Balance, and it protects from red removal spells. So this hand, I would definitely keep it in a normal match, like against a deck that's not this. But it's really slow, which makes it really bad in this match. So I have the Bauble and the Fetch Land to set up a Scry effect. I can play the Pure Steel, but, like, there's no pressure. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand looks significantly better to me. I think the Paradise Mantle has to go back, though. I need 3 mana sources to do the Urza Saga thing. I have a hammer. I have a way to attach a hammer. It's not Sigarda's Aid, which is the better one, by a large margin in this match. At least in my opening hand. Top decking Pure Steel on, like, in, like, the middle of the game is oftentimes pretty strong. Kind of want to cut Memnites as well. I'm definitely going to cut some Esper Sentinels on the draw. I'm not sure if I've sideboarded accurately. Like, all of the zeros are terrible in this match. And Esper Sentinel's definitely pretty bad on the draw. Well, we're insulated against their Magus of the Moon if they play that card. Stoneforge, Mystique. Okay. Are they just killing it with the trigger in this deck? Or are they fetching a Triome? Because they have priority. They're fetching a Triumph because they have priority. Yes. And... Hammer or Mantle? Or Chip, even? I think Hammer. I'm going to try and pressure them with Saga first. Before doing anything crazy with my hammers. Unless I draw Sigardazade. Then I might change it. Interesting. Are they just Prismatic ending? This doesn't cast Ren, which is why I'm intrigued as to why they fetch this way. If they have March of Otherworldly Light, that's sad for me. If it's Prismatic ending, that's also kind of sad for me. Ingenious Smith is not sad for me. That's a fine card to draw here. This doesn't... This could cast Lightning Helix, if that's in their sideboard. Sometimes it is. I think I'm just going to attack and try and do Saga things. Saga things are sometimes too slow, but the rest of my hand is also slow, so I'm going to try and bait out as much removal as humanly possible. Or as core artificerly possible, in this case. Perhaps I do want a Pithing Needle. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to get off my Saga here. Expressive? Okay, that's good for me, if they're doing this on turn 2. Or turn 3, rather. Because it means they have a... I guess I would call it a tempo negative turn. Oh, they didn't even find a land. Ooh. Okay, I'm okay with this. So they didn't get a 2-for-1 off their card, which is good for me. So I think it's better to make another construct here, but it's not by a lot if it is. Like, I kind of want to get a mana source even, and then play like Ingenious Smith and Memnite. So let's do that. Land, Ingenious Smith. Tap the one that can't attack. Okay. Ooh, a hammer. Memnite, trigger my thing. If they play exactly Supreme Verdict, then I guess I get destroyed. Just like actually annihilated. So let's hope for not that. I don't think it's very common. Or if it is, it's like 1 or 2 of. So it is a way that I am in a significantly worse position immediately if that happens. I go from like liking my position to almost being dead on the spot. But it looks like it's Teferi. Okay, he's probably bouncing a construct token. Okay. Plan run my opponent out of removal, still in effect here. White source. Ending the other one. Okay. So now I am going to make a pure steel play. Because they have to 2-for-1 themselves at this point. In order to not be dead. Okay, they did not have Solitude. Okay. So that was pretty good on the play. The draw is going to be a little bit more difficult. I did say I didn't like any Esper Sentinels on the draw. Don't know if I'm going to cut all 4 of them after thinking about it. But I definitely don't like them. They are artifacts, and Ingenious Smith needs some of those. So let's do one for a Pithing Needle. Maybe Ornithopter's better than Memnite in this match because of Red Insects specifically. Like, even Fury. If I have 3 Memnites, they all die. If I have 3 Ornithopters, 1 survives. That's not good by any means, but it's better than losing everything. I could bring in Meddling Mage, but it's not very good because they have so many cards that matter. Like, I can name Omnath and they can kill it. I can name a kill spell, they can use a different kill spell. Spell Pierce is interesting. I keep looking at Spell Pierce thinking, this could be good, but they have a lot of creatures that matter as well. I think I'm going to bring in an extra drum on the draw. And I think I'm going to keep the Esper Sentinels because... well, Memnite might just be better. Or Spell Pierce could even be better. How many artifacts do I have if I bring in Spell Pierce? Only 17? That's not a lot. Right now I only have 19. So Spell Pierce would be best in my opening hand because it can pierce a Ren and 6 on turn 2, which is their best play. Maybe I cut a Smith and 2 Sentinels. Maybe Sentinel's better than Memnite though, because at least sometimes draws a card. So I have 1 Sentinel in at this point. It's a weird looking sideboard. I don't love it. Get this out of here. Get another Sentinel in here. Yeah, this is very strange. Spell Pierce also doesn't function under Teferi. Blah. Yeah, I don't like it. Bring in another Springleaf Drum. Bring in 1 Memnite. Submit. Like, if I'm bringing in an artifact creature that's got 1 power, if Esper Sentinel never triggers, then it was literally just a Memnite that cost 1 mana, which is why I brought in 1 Memnite. So they have kept, I think? Scroll down. Yeah, they kept. This hand has a Pithing Needle for a turn 2 Ren and 6, but it applies no pressure, so I'm going to mulligan. This hand has no white mana. Let's mulligan. This hand has an Ingenious Smith. Let's keep it. Gonna keep 2 mana sources for sure. I think the hammer is more important than the Thopter. So this is not a hand that I enjoy keeping. This is a hand that I look at and go, I'm keeping it because it's on 5. And I expect to just lose and be very sad about it. Well, that's better. So hopefully they don't have Ren on 2. If they do, then I'm kind of obligated to play Lavinia, because she doesn't die to Ren and 6 ping. Okay, fetching immediately means they have Ren and 6, in my mind. Or they have a 1 mana enchant land cantrip, but they didn't fetch a basic, so this feels like Ren and 6. Yeah. Alright, I feel like I'm basically in checkmate already. Yeah. Alright, Inkmoth is helpful, maybe. Let's get a basic. Play Lavinia because she doesn't die to Ren and 6 ping. And feel like the game is over, but play it out anyway. Uh-huh. Green. I was gonna say, what is that? Eternal Witness doesn't seem very good right now. Okay, that makes more sense. Green-white, is this an Eladamri's Call? Is this a prismatic ending? Prismatic ending, okay. Plus Ren, yep. On the green-white one, okay. Hey, green-white one. Alright, I'm gonna play Ingenious Smith. If I miss, I'm gonna have to play the hammer so that she doesn't die to the Ren. Okay, didn't miss, that's good. Here's a bottle. Thank you. Let's see what's going on over there. An expressive iteration, okay. Turns out I would have wanted the Spell Pierce in my opening hand here. Although I don't remember... Let's see. I had Lavinia. What was I going to cut for Spell Pierce? I was going to cut, like, Esper Sentinel? I didn't draw either of those, so... So I don't think I would have had Spell Pierce in my opener here. Okay. That card plays. Bring back their other land. Okay, so 2 other cards in hand are lands. And then expressive. They already played a land though, so that's interesting. Maybe they're just looking for a removal spell? The fact that they played their land first makes me highly suspicious that they have actual counterspell in hand. Or they're just turning their fetch land into a rainbow land. Sure. They have 8 cards in hand. They're going to discard one of their 2 lands, I bet. If I were a gambling man, that's what I would bet. They did, in fact, discard one of their lands. So, let's see. I can do Pure Steel and Hammer and attack for 13. The problem is I don't think it gets better than doing it right now. Okay. Let's fetch. Here's Pure Steel. Here's Hammer. I'll put them in whatever order. I would like to draw a card. It's not a good one. I just realized that I have to tap out of Blacksmith Skill to make this play. Is that a deal breaker? Yuck. They have 1 mana of any color open. They have 1 land in hand, at least. If I go for this hammer line, I can kill the red, and it works. The upside is I kill red and 6. And if it doesn't work, the downside is, like, I lose the game. But if they untap, I kind of lose the game anyway. I miscounted and I started taking this line, so I think I have to finish it. Alright, Ren. Bye-bye. Oh, and they have the Force of Vigor. I'm not strictly dead, but I really just want to concede. Yeah, I messed up this line. I miscounted my lands. The League of Horrible Draws continues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is probably Solitude. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hate it when I'm right. They have 5 cards left in their hand. And one of them is a land. I don't know why I use this land. Trade with Pure Steel, that makes sense. Yeah, the game's over. I've lost. Season Pyromancer. Oh no, cycle land. Okay. Plus the cycling land back. Play Flooded Strand. So they still have 2 lands in hand. I hate these situations that make it seem like I can almost do something. Because realistically, I can't. Maybe I'll freak him out with an attack. Maybe they think I have another blacksmith skill. Alright, we've gotten Ren off the board. Now I'm super excited if they have another one. Okay, do they have that counterspell that I thought about a couple turns ago? They sure do. No, that's not a counterspell. That's a dress down. Okay. That card's extremely good against my deck. Cool. They still have 7 cards in hand. It's an Omnath. No, it's a fairy. Okay. They even gotta bounce anything? Oh, bounce my thing with an ETB trigger. I suppose they both do. Another land. Okay, so now I don't know if they have any more lands in hand. But they still have 6 cards in hand. By Yorion. Yep, Yorion in hand. They have 7 cards in hand. Oh, whoops, forgot to fetch. So they only have 1 mana open. I think what I'm going to do is get Reality Chip. And then I will attack Teferi. Sure. Then I'll play the Smith. I found an Ornithopter. That is a terrible one to find, but I'm the one who left that back in my deck instead of Memnite, so joke's on me. This just Yorion for 2 cards? Yeah, this deck is so frustrating to play against. I'm going to keep this land up, actually. This fetch land, because I can change the top card of my deck as I see it with Reality Chip. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Just put it on a couple fetch lands. Yep. Yorion being a companion is a +1 by itself. The fact that it got another +2 is pretty broken, in my opinion. I do have to fetch to attach. Here's a Reality Chip. Trigger my thing. Equip to one of these Ornithopters because they are my worst creatures. So if they die, then that's that. And can't play a land off the top because, or wait, can I? I can. Okay. Didn't expect to get this far. It's very surprising that my opponent has 7 cards in hand and none of them do anything. My opponent immediately adding green makes me think it's Runa Witness, because that's one of the only cards that has double green in the cost. Second Force of Vigor, I guess. Yeah, fuck me, right? Teferi. Omnath. That's worse. A lot worse. Yeah, I do know about that Reverend Triumph, actually. So the thing is, I have a Teferi on top of my deck, but, like, it doesn't do anything? Because these cards both have really powerful ETBs. So I guess I'm bouncing Stoneforge. And finding another one, sure. I think, is this a situation where I'd want Kaldra? Unclear. Gotta pass, and I don't think I'm gonna save Teferi. I don't think. If they only throw 1 creature at Teferi, I'll probably save them. I don't know if I'll save them with 2 creatures, though. I mean, I might. Sure. Oh, yeah, they could just kill him with the Omnath trigger. Forgot. Never mind. That hits Planeswalkers. Okay, I do not have the option to save Teferi. The card wasn't broken enough. Oh, and they have Eternal Witness. Okay. So they had that anyway. Getting back Force of Vigor, sure. Ending, sure. This is what I expected to happen to me a couple turns ago. I'm not even gonna block. I don't care. Sure, you've gotten it. Alright. That's the most demoralizing deck in Modern. I think it's the best deck in Modern. By a noticeable enough margin that I hope Wizards ban something. I'd like it to be Renin 6. And Expressive Iteration, actually. But what can you do? It's legal right now, so I have to deal with it. And it's not a match that I've played against in the last 2 leagues that I've run, so Hushbringer is not currently in the sideboard, and Hushbringer is a very important card in that match. Giver is also somewhat important, but I think Ingenious Smith played pretty well there. Oh, we've successfully gone 0-5 on die rolls. Love to see it. Okay, I've seen a Sagardazade for the first time in 3 matches. That's probably an exaggeration. Gigantha, okay. That could be... Some versions of Affinity have Gigantha as their companion, but Shadow has Gigantha. I think I'm going to keep this hand and hope that I can play Sagardazade on turn 1 and it doesn't get discard spelled. Okay, that's terrifying. Do they have counter magic in their deck? I guess I'm casting this. And playing a Marsh Flats or Arid Base, doesn't matter. And then we'll see if they have a stop. They do have stops, so they're gonna fetch. Do I want to cast Sagardazade now? This can't be a blue-red deck. I don't expect them to have a counterspell for this. We'll find out if they do. Yeah, they don't. Okay. They didn't even want to fetch. Interesting. It is Shadow. Okay. Here's an Urza Saga. Here's a Springleaf Drum. And I don't really want to attack them. Because I don't really want to help out their Death Shadows. I want to make them hurt themselves as much as possible. So I'm not going to attack them. Man, playing against Death Shadow after playing as 4-color feels great. And I'm like, this matchup is terrible, but it's not as terrible as playing against 4-color. In my opinion. Matchup feels very uphill for Shadow, or for Hammer. Alright, I'm gonna play Inkmoth Nexus because it forces them to respect the fact that there's an Inkmoth Nexus in play. Still don't really want to attack them. But if they're not doing anything, and now that I have mana to activate Saga, I'm willing to hit them for a single point of damage. I don't usually like to hit them below 16, because then one Fetch Shock still... At 16, one Fetch Shock leaves them at 13 and they can't play a Shadow. But they have 2 fetches right now, so they can do what they want. Which right now seems to be not hurting themselves. Basic Mountain is not normally in Death Shadow. So there's a Ledger Shredder. Okay. Now what? The Bauble? Okay. My opponents are really good at finding Kroxa against me. And that's fine. Kroxa's not that great against Hammer. I wonder if they have Dress Down. I kinda hope they don't. End step, create a token. I would like for my token to be slightly bigger. Targeting me? Okay. They want more information before they make a decision. That's intelligent. They're going to let me choose a target. I will pick my bigger creature, please. Fatal Push It. It's dead. Okay. So what am I drawing that they know about? So I can animate the Nexus here, which would be interesting, and I could get a hammer and target the Nexus. That would force them to block. I don't really love it. Kind of want to just make it a construct. And then get a hammer and target the Mem Knight. And probably they have to burn it. I could get a hammer and target the construct because they can't burn it right now. Force them to have exactly drown instead. That might be better. I like it better. Because they cannot burn this one. Land creature, artifact. Oh, I just can't count. You can't hear it right now, but I'm cussing a lot. Why can I not count? Okay, that was absolutely horrible. So let's go ahead and see what this is. It's a land. It's fetched away. Yep. Is this my second spell? I cast a bubble. Yeah, it's my second spell. Okay, yes. Hammer. Pass. Alright, so... Alright, this is not a matchup where I can make mistakes. It's already a terrible matchup. So that kind of miscounting their delirium was very bad for me. Because I don't have a large creature in play anymore, I just have a 1/1 instead. Polluted Delta, sure. Another Shredder. Sure. Discarding a land, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're a shadow deck. And I don't think I can win this game. This feels like a discard spell, if they're fetching now. Could be a shadow. Could be a Ragavan. Didn't expect that one, but it could be that one. Okay, so... definitely playing this. I can animate the Nexus, but that's not very good. I can attach Shadow Spear to a creature, like say the Stoneforge, and then attack, and then flash in Hammer. I can attach Shadow Spear to Memnite, and they have to block it. Yeah, this is tough. What if I don't play the hammer this turn? Then I don't get an attack. I'm definitely not letting them connive, so I'm only playing one spell this turn. I'll probably use Stoneforge to activate and put the hammer in that way, so that way I can play the bauble. Or maybe the Ornithopter's better. It's another creature. Ornithopter's better if I don't play the hammer this turn, because it gives me another creature which I can put the hammer on. So let's try this and see what they do about it. Depends on how they block this. I'm probably putting the hammer in. Okay, with this exact block, I don't need to put the hammer in. But it still might be best to do so. 12, that is 9. They go to 3 life. That does make Shadow rather ginormous. I'll give it a go. I'm allowed to overkill their creature if I want to, which is very interesting. But I think I'd rather put them at the most damage. And then bauble. And then their upkeep, I will set a stop and see what they draw. It is a Ragavan. I'm okay with that. This does mean that they get to hit me with a Ragavan. But I'm not worried about that much. Yep. Yep. And they took off the top of my deck a Seacrim Coast. Alright, Ragavan helping me out, thanks. They're just replaying a Ragavan so they have a blocker. Nope. Shredder. Then probably playing Ragavan. Yeah, that makes sense. They're looking for a removal spell. Ditch a land. Ditch a land. Checks out. Keep the untapped one. Yep. Hope they didn't find a drown or a push. Well. If I play this and attach Hammer to Stoneforge, then they can jump with Ragavan. If I attach Hammer to Ink Moth, then they have to jump with a Shredder, which I think is better for me. So if I do that, then they have to... If they have a removal spell, they must use it on the Memnite, and then they have to jump with a Shredder, and then I get to attach Hammer. Okay, my Memnite's probably dead. I would guess that they have a Fatal Push or a Drown in hand, because they haven't conceded yet. Oh, I forgot to reanimate my Nexus. Whoops. So, this play is the same. Oh, they just made me do it. Okay. Thought for sure they found a Drown. Okay. Yeah, that felt much better than the 4-color deck. When the 4-color deck stalled out, they ended up drawing 3 extra cards anyway. When the Shadow deck stalled out, they actually stalled out. They have Gigantha, which means they don't have Dragon, though, so that is something to note. I think Prismatic Ending is acceptable. I think Rest in Peace is acceptable. They didn't show me Drown, though, so I'm not sure. Spell Pierce is interesting. It's less good against the discard spells, because then they know when they have to play around it. And then they can force me to either use it at a bad time, or never make me use it. Teferi is interesting. Relic is interesting. Pithing Needle's interesting. They're a Ragavan strategy, so Memnite is better than Ornithopter. And I have one more card to cut. Chip's pretty good. I could cut a Bauble. I could cut a mana artifact on the draw. I could cut a Sentinel on the draw. I don't hate that, actually, cutting a Sentinel on the draw. But I do like having as many 1-mana ways to interact with Ragavan as possible. So there is that. So let's do... I also don't like Paradise Mantle as much, actually, as the Springleaf Drums in this match. So Paradise Mantle is really good if you have a Pure Steel Paladin, or if you can like flash it in and surprise them with an extra mana source off a Sigarda's Aid. But the floor is lower, because you have to keep attaching it over and over again if they keep killing the creature you put it on. So I think I'm going to try this. I'm not convinced that it's 100% optimal, or that the Relic isn't worth having, because it can do a similar thing as Rest in Peace over, say, like, a Bauble. So let's try that. They both cantrip. Bauble is 0 mana, but Relic also interferes with their Delirium count for Unholy Heat and for my graveyard if they're playing Drown of the Luck, which I think they are. They usually do. If it's a Shadow build. We didn't see it, but all the other cards line up with Grixis Shadow. I am going to keep this hand. I'm planning on playing 3 creatures on turn 1 and hoping that they didn't bring in Fury and have it in their hand. And if they discard spell me, then they're probably going to take... Actually, I don't know. They could take the Sentinel because it's my turn 1 play. They could take the Stoneforge because it's a 2-for-1, or they could take the Pure Steel because it's the best card later in the game. I'd be the most sad if they took Sentinel or Stoneforge. Yep. Okay, I'll save that one for later. Play my 3 creatures. My opponent is waiting on me to fetch. Okay. Play my 3 creatures. Honestly, I might just cast the Pure Steel Paladin next turn, because I'm not doing anything else. It's a very sad Pure Steel Paladin. Down to 14. Here's a drum. Here's a fetch. I'm gonna cast this because I can't do anything else. And I don't want to just have it rot in my hand until They find a discard spell. Oh, okay. You're gonna give me a card. That's a good one. I can hit them to 12, which lets them play a shadow, but getting them to 11 is kind of the magic number, because that's a single hit for lethal. I think I'm going to go for it, because they can already play a shadow off of a fetch shock. And if I draw exactly Sigarda's Aid and Ingenious Smith into a hammer, then they are dead if they don't have any interaction. Paying life? Just dismember? Oh, no, sorry. They played a thing already. Okay, so they have 2 mana open. Here's an Ingenious Smith. Please don't drown it. Okay, did not drown. I'm happy about that. Bobble. Shock. Here is additional Ingenious Smith. You know my last card is Bobble. Please do not drown this either. Okay. Miss, and the only thing I'm missing from there is an Ingenious Smith. Okay. Put a stop in their upkeep so that I can see what they draw. Okay, my bottom 4 cards are not good, so I don't want to shuffle my deck if I can help it. In their upkeep, let's see what they're drawing. Is it a lightning bolt effect? I usually see those with this card. Nope, it's a steep fence. That's fine. I used to joke with my one friend that Bobble says, look at the card that is going to kill me. Alright, I got 2 cards this turn. Hopefully they're Sigarda's Aid Hammer. That's close, actually. How many cards in my graveyard? Too many to overpay for this prismatic ending. I will... Bobble. Both these things get to be 3s now. I can't actually attack with both Ingenious Smiths, because if my opponent blocks with Shadow and damage is dealt at the same time, what'll happen is they'll take 3 damage, and their Shadow will take 3 damage, it'll kill my thing, and it'll be a 6/6 before state-based effects check. So if I want to attack, I could attack with exactly 1 Ingenious Smith, and I would probably take that trade. But I think I'm going to cast Prismatic Ending to see how that goes first. See if they have a drown that they're willing to use on this. Looks like they do. Yeah, they do. And they're probably gonna pay. Yeah, checks out. Okay, so do I want to swing in 1 Ingenious Smith? That'll put them to 7, which would put them to dead on board, right? Because then on my next turn, they can block an Ingenious Smith, but they take 3, 4, 5, 6. They're only dead if I draw an artifact. And they also don't have removal, which is tough. So I think it's too risky to go for right now. So I will not. I will take a look at their top card. And it is a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. So then I would not have been able to press for lethal here because they have another blocker. Yep. So I get 2 cards again. Well, I found a Sigarda's Aid. Let us see if the opponent has another counterspell. They do not. So here's my last card. Now do I want to attack with an Ingenious Smith? I still don't really want to. they can... The fact that they didn't buy Gigantha makes me think that they have something. Either that or they're bluffing something. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did last turn, which is wait for their turn. The thing with last turn was that I had a bauble, so I got 2 cards. With this turn, I only have 1 card coming. But if I swing and they take it, let's see, they're at 7? Yeah, I don't want to do it. Can't bring myself to do it. I'd rather see if I can get my Ingenious Smiths bigger. They have a Terminate. Okay, targeting the Sentinel. Okay, so the Sentinel's annoying them. Surveil. If they keep a card on top, that's terrifying. It probably just means it's a removal spell. They did keep a card on top, so likely they're putting a removal spell in their hand. If it's exactly K command that's annoying, if it's exactly explosives that's annoying. Those are the 2 worst for me, I think. They're pretty far away from Delirium right now, which is nice for me. Ugh, the worst possible. God, this card's so good against me. Well, now I wish I'd attacked. That is the best draw. So, they've been representing a removal spell. I think I'm just gonna terrify them. Swing out. And let's see what they do with these explosives. Just this. So the problem that I've run into now is that I really should have just attacked with the Ingenious Smith and the Inkwell Nexus, because right now they're taking 3, 4, 5, only 6 regular damage. So if I pass priority, I mean, I kind of have to do this. I took the line. At least my Ingenious Smith will survive the shadow, which is nice. Do I put this on the Nexus, or do I put it on Memnite? If I put it on the Nexus... My opponent hasn't conceded, which makes me fairly certain that they have a removal spell. I just can't put it on the Ingenious Smith. So I guess I will target the Nexus. Which could be wrong because it's a flying blocker for Darcy. Yeah. Yeah, the reason that I acted now... So I should have only swung, I think, 1 Ingenious Smith and exactly the Inkmoth Nexus. But the reason that I acted now was that it was the lowest chance that they had a card that did anything. Yeah, Darcy is insane against me because I have not a lot of removal, so it gets to surveil a lot of cards. My opponent drew a pretty good mix of cards. They want low threats and lots of removal, which is what they have here. It's not what they had last game. They had too many threats, not enough removal. So I have no cards in hand. That's fascinating. They didn't buy Gigantha, and they didn't attack, which means they drew another form of interaction. That sucks for me. I guess I will just make them blow the explosives. Yeah. It's fine. Bobble, sure. Alpine Moon. Okay, they do have Alpine Moon. Look at my card. Sure. That has to attack. It's also going to attack. Yeah, no blocks. Let's see what the top card of the deck is. They know what I'm drawing. That is a good one. I have 4 artifacts, so unless they have the 3rd drown, this is a really good draw. Immediately equip. And then if they have double removal spell, I'm dead. I need to hold back at least 1 creature, and I'd rather it not be the paladin. So I think I'm going to attack with just the Memnite. The big one, rather. If I had another hammer in my hand, I would definitely attack with both and try and push for lethal, but I do not, so... I might have Fatal Push. Alright. Are you dead? They didn't wish for Gigantha, so I have strong suspicions that they have something they can do here. That's that other card that I said was the worst one for me a couple turns ago. Yeah. Their draw was very good. Mine was not. Let's go to game 3. Would a Spell Pierce have been good there? I don't remember if they had 5 mana or 4 mana. So Relic would have been good earlier, and Rest in Peace would have been good earlier, so I'm definitely keeping those in. I don't think I want to change anything. I think this is fine. So the only thing that I could change is Spell Pierce on the play, but I don't think it's something that I really want, so we'll stick with what we got. For the same reason that discard spells make it a lot more awkward than if I were just playing against a combo deck or blue-red Murktide. This seems interesting. I have a turn 1 Relic and just a Memnite or something, but I'll probably hold the Memnite to play it on turn 2 with an Ingenious Smith and an Urza Saga. So I have 2 Urza Sagas. I really don't want to see an Alpine Moon, but this hand is pretty good. Here's my Relic. Here's a, I said I was going to hold that. I'm going to hold that. I will use Relic as soon as they put a card in the graveyard. Like right now. It brings me joy to just use Relic as soon as possible. Okay, this could be a creature or a discard spell. It is creature. It is the best creature. That one's very good against me. Here's this. Okay. I'm going to play this one because it's better right now since I don't have a way to find a hammer. I think Sentinel's better than Shadow Spear here, so I'll choose it. I will cast this to get a +1/+1 counter, and I will pass my turn. And I'll hold my relic up. Play a fetch land, I tell you. Don't play an Alpine Moon. I don't want that one. Fetch land. Aha! Got him. Okay, now I can have 6. Aha. Aha. Please don't play Alpine Moon. Please don't. Please don't. Okay, thank you. Oh wait, gotta put a sub in my upkeep so I can relic as soon as possible. Yeah, I will take this trade, I think. Reason being... Okay, it's my upkeep. Take that, you. So, reason being is I think that the static effect of Surveil... okay. Of Surveil that many times is going to be relevant over the course of the game. However, I have drawn Rested Peace now, which I think I'm going to play in conjunction with an Esper Sentinel instead of making tokens. That doesn't do that. So this will turn off Drown against everything that's not 0 mana. And it'll also turn off Dragon's Rage Channeler forever. Just so, well, I mean, it won't turn off the triggered ability, which is the part I care about more. But it'll make it not a real threat. And now I don't have to worry about tapping Relic of Progenitus. Just exile it for her card whenever I feel like it. Opponent's trying to decide what to do here with their land. They're shocking. Okay. I'm probably going to make a token with my Saga, unless they have Alpine Moon, which, okay, they don't. They have Shadow. I do care about my Sentinel more than that thing. If it were Memnite, I would make the trade. That's a good one. I will do this. And then... could just get a Bauble. Or I could get a Springleaf Drum so that I can actually cast Stoneforge this turn, which also seems fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Saga number 2. Tap this thing. Can't drown this one. Yes, I'll search. I think I'll take a hammer. Then I'll pass. Okay. Turning off Drown on my 1-mana cards is kind of nice. Fatal Push my Sentinel. Okay. So they get to Surveil. That means they want to cast more spells. It might mean that they don't have a land in hand, which is bad for me. It means they have 2 interactive spells. But it also means their Shadow's kind of tiny. They kept a card on top. Hopefully it's not Engineered Explosives again. Really dislike it when that happens. If it's exactly Alpine Moon, I don't care as much anymore because my hand is really strong now. If they're thinking about attacking with Death Shadow, then they're telling me the card in my hand is Dress Down, which they're going to cast right now. So that I can't block the token. Yeah. Yeah. So this is 13 damage coming at me. Which I think means I should block, honestly. That's a lot of damage. Man, they still have 3 cards in hand, too. That sucks. Another Shadow. Okay. Not that scared of that one, honestly. Oh, another Saga. That's not bad. Play it. Let's play a Sigardizade. And I hope they don't have another Dress Down. The fact that they threw one... Oh, their Shadow became a 1/1 and died. I was like, wait, were there 2 Shadows a second ago? That was not an interaction that I would have expected either. I do not fault my opponent for missing that. But yeah, it turns out Dress Down dies in the beginning of the end step and not the cleanup step, now that I think about it. So the Shadow does die. My opponent has 3 cards in hand. I really hope none of them is a Dress Down, or Drown is even good because I'm making tokens, or Alpine Moon, because my whole game plan involves Saga here. Okay. Okay. There's a token. It is Drown. Okay. That'll show me. Do I want to cycle my Relic? I do have the 1 mana to do so. They did mill another Drown, that's fine. So next turn I'm gonna activate a Saga. And then if I draw another land, I can activate Saga again. I think I'm willing to cycle Relic now. Although holding it means I'm more insulated against discard spells in case I draw spells I want to cast. So if I make another token, I'll have 2 mana left over. Which means if I draw land, I can play it and activate Saga again. Then I can't play Hammer. And if I draw spell, then I can play it anyway. I think I'm going to hold it. Alright, this is spell. I'll put these in order. I don't think it matters which order. I've never seen it matter. So I can make 1 token, and I did not draw a mana source, and Springleaf Drum is not another mana source, so we're going to do it this way. I have Shadow Spear and Hammer. I don't think I want to go for Hammer up on the construct yet. I think I'd rather go for a creature here, because this plays around a removal spell a little bit better. Like a Fatal Push or a Drown style removal spell. Yep. This time I think I'll cast a spell. And I'm going to go for the Construct because this time they have no graveyard, which means they have to have Push or Drown. Really glad my opponent has not seen explosives or they do have another Drown. Okay. The 3rd Drown. That'll show me. And they kept a card on top. Okay, that's terrifying. Yeah, that's scary. Okay. Alright, let's do it again. But this time I will get a hammer and I'll target the Mem Knight. I kind of hope they have a red removal spell here so that I can flash in the other hammer. Alright, they do. I think they still want it. Alright. I will make this play because it forces them to do something. The fact that they kept a card on top makes me scared that it is explosives, in which case I'll get completely destroyed. Alright. Block. Alright. So if it's explosives or K command, those are the two ones that beat me for sure. I don't think anything else is as bad as those two. And the fact that they kept one on top makes me think that it is in fact one of those two, which is annoying. It'll be annoying if it is, I should say. If it's not one of those two, it'll be less annoying. Yeah. As expected, I am annoyed. I would love to drop Here's to a Paladin. That'd be great. Thanks, deck. That's just the game. I will use my first priority to equip a hammer. Use my second priority to equip this thing. And I guess as much overkill as possible. Okay, so we did salvage a 3-2, if it shows up here. But we did salvage a 3-2, and there it is. The match that we lost, the one was against the mono white deck, where I flooded out in games 2 and 3, and that match felt very winnable in other situations. And then we lost against the 4-color pile, which is always really frustrating. My sideboard is not set up for that today because I haven't seen it in leagues recently. I think it must be a slog to play that deck in leagues. That's possibly why I have been seeing less of it, but it is a very good deck. I know it always tilts me when they play a spell every turn and end with more cards in hand than they started with. It's very frustrating. But no Hushbringers today, and that card is very important in that match. So not surprised that I lost. And then the Shadow match I think is pretty close. I think I'm slightly disadvantaged, but I'm happy that I walked away with a win. And thanks for watching. I think my net conclusion is that both the Smiths and the Givers are viable. I personally like the Giver Cauldron a little bit better, even after playing that league and seeing what happened there. So this is the list that I like a little bit more, but I would not fault anyone for playing the Ingenious Smiths. I think oh, they're over here. I think online the player whose screen name who plays Ingenious Smith a lot he's very good. In American English, it looks like it's pronounced Laplace Jan, but I believe it's pronounced Laplacian in whatever language that is. I'd have to look it up before I make a fool of myself. But he's an excellent player, and his is the list that I saw that had the Ingenious Myths. And I did enjoy it. It was fun. The Prismatic Ending came up. The Meddling Mage never came up. But everything else, it played well. And I had fun. So thanks for watching, everyone. And I will talk to you next time.